This is section 1 of this video. Photography, Digital Processing 1 credit. This is for Communications 1275, Visual Communications 1275. In this section, we're going to talk about photo editing. Again, like other ones, this was originally planned to be one video, but it may end up getting split into 2 or 3 or more. Photo editing basically is the act of image enhancement and manipulation. This process is usually done with a digital photo editing software. Photo editing can involve basic tweaks like when you crop and resize images or adjust saturation. It also includes advanced techniques like swapping faces or photo retouching to get rid of distracting elements or unwanted objects. And one thing to note is that if you were looking at entering a photo contest where they're having you do and submit pictures for judging in a contest, usually they do not want any editing being done to it. You have to submit the picture the way it was taken. And I know there's definitely a lot of people that don't necessarily agree that that's the way it should be, but that's typically how these things are done. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to look at is straightening a picture. Okay, so that's adjusting the horizon of a photograph. And in this case, here's a picture I took of a rock, right? And I was kind of trying to make that crack in the rock horizontal. But if you look at the grass, by making the crack look horizontal, now the grass is kind of going sideways somewhat. Well, it's not sideways, but it's at an angle. So we've got the picture that we want. Whoops, I didn't want to zoom in. Okay, oh, right, I got to find the right spot. So here, yeah, if you click on the crop rotate geometry tool, then you can actually rotate it here. And what's interesting is as you do this, you'll see it'll automatically crop it so that there are no black edges, there's no black corners. It'll crop within the original picture to make sure that as much of that picture remains as possible in order to fit the picture at the angle that you've just tried to go for. So I've got this fairly straight here. And so if I wanted to take that, then I can just click on one of the other tools and it'll just automatically put it as is. And if I wanted to save this, then I can just go File and Export. I guess I'll show you this process because they're all basically like this. Export one photo, right? You can choose where you want to put the picture. Let's go to desktop. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So photo editing slideshow, that's what this was for. So I'll put that and I'll call this, whoops, oh no, that's the right folder. So select the folder there, and now this picture should have been saved there. Okay, the next thing is rotating, which is similar to straightening, really. But when going through old images, try looking at them from a different angle or perspective. Play with the rotation of the image, and when you do a crop, you can rotate it, flip it, put it upside down, maybe see something else. So again, it's very similar to straightening, because essentially when you're straightening, you are rotating things, but there are some features you can use that are a little bit more extreme than just rotating. Okay, So here we've got the picture of the manhole cover. And again, you want the crop rotate geometry tool. And sure, if you go in the whole straighten thing, you can rotate it to some extent. But you've also got the rotate and flip commands here. So you can do 90 degrees to the left, and you can repeat that a few times. You can go 90 degrees to the right. Right, and you can repeat that a few times. You can mirror horizontally, so it'll flip it horizontally. Okay, flip it back. You can flip it vertically, and I can flip it back. So those are things that you can do with those commands. Okay, the next thing is mirroring. So as it says in photography, a mirror image is a duplicate image flipped horizontally or vertically. The duplicate image is placed parallel to the original, creating a reflection or mirror-like effect. And so in this case, I can show you how to do it. Basically, it's what we were showing before. I've taken this picture and I flipped it vertically, and then I put the two pictures together, edge to edge, and this is what you come up with. And then from that, you could potentially crop it and do something with it there. Okay, so we've got that original image. Again, with the crop rotate geometry tool, I can just flip it this way. And then what I did is I pasted them together side by side in the slideshow. And then you're able to see how that would look. And if you wanted to, you could flip it vertically and then see how that mirror reflection works for you when you put the two together. And actually, it could be kind of interesting seeing how the stems fit together and how they interact. That could come up, make an interesting picture as well. Okay, the next part is cropping. So again, removing or adjusting the outside edges of an image to improve framing or composition. You can work on, drawing a viewer's eye to a subject or change the size or aspect ratio. The act of improving an image by removing unnecessary parts. So in this picture, it's kind of an interesting one because you got that post on the left there, and you've got that manhole cover right in front of the horse. And so if you want to get rid of it or get rid of those things, you can crop them out. But the thing is, if you crop just so that you're showing kind of the top right-hand side of that picture, or top right-hand parts of the picture, and you will crop out some of the horse's face. Okay, so for this, again, we're going to use the same tool, the crop rotate geometry tool. And I had done this one before kind of as a practice one. Whoops, zooming in here. I think I deselected the tool. Okay, so now with this, you can drag from the corners. You can drag from the edges. You can drag from the bottom or the top even to crop the picture, which is handy. You can also use this to adjust your aspect ratios. So, whoops, hang on. So if I want it 16 by 9, that's what 16 by 9 would look like. So the rest of the picture is in gray, but if that's how you wanted it, that's how it would come up. If I wanted a 7 by 5 picture, I could do that. Again, what's grayed out on the edges, that would not show up in a 7 by 5. I could go 2 by 1, right? So this aspect will let you change things however you want. A 1-to-1, it's a square. I guess I could do that and try and drag this in here. Okay, that's not quite the picture I would like. You can even create custom ones, or you can just drag the picture again by the sides, by the corners to what you want. And if you got the size you want, but not the picture you want, you can just click and drag the picture around in the frame that you've created. So now I can see the horse's face completely. If I move this edge over, I make sure I get rid of that manhole cover, but I want to see a little bit more of this horse. So, oh, okay, maybe I need to do custom. There, now I can just do whatever I want. So you can see more of the horse, see a little bit more of the ground. Again, you've got this grid here. So in terms of rule of thirds, you know, this is basically focusing on the intersection here is where the horse's eye is roughly. It's hard to see in this picture. Okay. And so there I've created that as the focal point. Well, let me move this over. So roughly the eye is the focal point there. And on this vertical line on the right, the horse's chin goes right along that line. Okay. So I'm thinking that doesn't look too bad. Again, if I click on any of these other tools, it will pop out and show me the picture as it is. And again, I can save what I've edited. So I can export, right? Export one photo. And whoops, desktop, sorry. I can do the photo editing slideshow again, select folder, and that should be saved for me now. Okay. So that's something you can do with the cropping. To be continued in section 2.